The biggest headlines, the voices, the moments driving SFR BTR forward. Give us less than 10 minutes. We'll take you inside SFR BTR, your new weekly must-have habit. Wrap up your week inside SFR BTR. New episodes drop every Friday on Everesi Media and wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a special edition of Inside SFR BTR for Friday, January 23rd, 2026. I'm Gregory Frank, along with Ryan. Saturday. This week's show is sponsored by CSS, the eviction specialist. Coming up, the most respected voices in housing break down Trump's Davos remarks, the White House executive order, and what it really means for the future of single-family rental. John Burns, David Howard, Jacque Petroulakis, and Richard Ross join me as we cut through the noise and explain what comes next. Inside the Vendor Network welcomes Peter Pasternack, a familiar face from Flip This House. Joins Yvonne Kenny talking healthcare avoidance. Unleashed with Ted and Adam, dive into the reality of turn cost. We've got a great show for you today. Let's get started.
I can't remember another time when housing has been such at the forefront of the national conversation. And I think to a large extent, that's a positive. I think that's good news. I think housing is so fundamentally important, not just to people's lives, but to the national economy, to local economies, for an awful lot of reasons that we can all talk about for hours and hours. And so I think there's this relatively newfound focus and emphasis on housing that has become a really, really important part of the national conversation around a whole host of factors, where people want to live, how they want to live. And perhaps most importantly, and where I think we're getting caught up in, is who really controls housing. When we talk about things like supply and demand, what are the drivers behind those? And I think a lot of times people just want to point the finger at someone. People want quick solution, they want quick answers. And sometimes they feel like, if there's, and we've talked about this a lot, if there's a boogeyman where you can put the blame and we can get rid of that, then we're all going to be better off. And I think, unfortunately, again, for us in the single-family rental housing build-to-rent industry, we've gotten caught up in that.
So if you read Trump's book from almost 40 years ago, this is how he negotiates. Mm-hmm. He said, this is what I do. I do extreme out there asks so when we get a compromise, it's closer to what I want in the first place. I'm going to create the narrative. I'm going to put pressure on you. This is how I negotiate. And so just like, this is the way the guy negotiates. But at the end of the day, I believe almost all the time when the regulations get done, when Treasury gets done, they're going to listen to people like David. They're going to do something that makes common sense. They're not going to throw housing under the bus. And I think even in his book, he said a similar thing, like the right thing gets done at the end of the day, but this is how it starts. And we're just kind of overreacting to the way he wants us to.
As someone who runs a company that's invested close to $2 billion in single-family homes in the last 6 years, what would be helpful is for us, owner-operator developers, to understand the guardrails, because it's been a little murky over the last 15 years as to what the government's going to do or not do with institutional, if you will, or large owners of homes.
Do policies like this accelerate the pivot we're already seeing towards build to rent or rental communities and private capital?
It would seem so. I mean, again, the devil's in the details. I feel pretty certain that this is the big institutions that are targeted here that own scattered homes are going to now have to be net sellers. And it's not coincidence that all of them are getting into the build to rent. They're all building communities because that is the future, if you will, and that is the way forward. And I think this is going to put some structure around that.
The capital is following the demand, and that's what we're doing. We're meeting demand. Right, we're adding net new rental supply, but it's at the end of the day, it's housing, and that's what capital wants to serve. Is what do consumers want? Where are the choices being made? I believe capital has increased its interest in the the rental housing market, and it's going to increasingly do so.
If you look at the single-family rental market in the country, there's 14 million rental homes. Way back in 2006, there was 11 million. So even before all of this, there was a lot. And we weren't building anything new for rent. Yet there's about twice as many apartments out there. We're building 400,000 new apartments every single year. Just using the simple math here, we should be building about 150,000 new rental homes every year just to provide those who want something new and can pay a little extra for it and to get more supply into the market an opportunity to rent something new. It's that simple.
This was a critical conversation at a time when the industry is seeking insight and trying to make sense of what comes next.
At 7 months pregnancy, my mom had food poisoning. I weighed 2.5 pounds. I had 9 operations by the time I was 5 years old. I did not get hearing until I was 5 years old. I was bullied, made fun of, called a deaf mute.
Today, our guest is Peter Pasternack. He's been a founder, an operator, a chief financial officer, and many of you may recognize him from the national television show Flip This House.
My personal mission statement is every day I will positively affect as many people as possible. I had some friends, it's probably late 20s, early 30s, I was there, and were in a very bad accident, did not have insurance, and caused them to go bankrupt. If you're younger, you sometimes have this mentality that, well, I don't need it. I'm young and I'm going to be good. But you don't realize sometimes it's not you. It could be circumstances or other people involved in there. One of the biggest changes in my life was when I realized I would not be a people pleaser. I think that is absolutely one of the worst traits you can have. I'm a big believer of personal power and empowering people. You can't give what you don't have.
True turn cost almost double. Our target for a turn is like $1,500. That's nowhere near reality today. True turn cost almost double, more like $2,500, $3,000. Construction costs are today. But you also have higher rent levels too. So percentage basis, it's probably not different.
Are you a real estate investor looking for fast, reliable funding? Meet IDSCR, your instant DSCR loan sizing tool. Size your own terms in under 2 minutes. Enter your investment property details. Enter borrower details. Size your terms. Best interest rates, starting from 5.5%. Customize your loan amount and interest rate. Review and select your offer. Use IDSCR anytime, anywhere. Try IDSCR today at housemaxfunding.com.
The biggest headlines, the voices, the moments driving SFR BTR forward. Give us less than 10 minutes. We'll take you inside SFR BTR, your new weekly must-have habit. Wrap up your week inside SFR BTR. New episodes drop every Friday on Everresi Media and wherever you get your podcasts.